So before we get started on analyzing the drawing part of the spiral triangles, what I want to do is talk for a minute about what I did with the original book version, and why I changed it and broke it down. So here's the original triangles.java, and in this file there are two classes. There's this triangles class that extends frame, so that gives us our window, and there is CV triangles, which is a canvas that gets embedded in the frame and does all the drawing. Okay, and so what I did with those, one of the first things I did was, it's common practice, unless there's a compelling reason to have more than one class in a file, it's common practice to have one class per file. So what I did was I took the two classes and broke them into two files. So I have a triangles.java, and you name the Java file with the same name as the class that you have in that file. So we have a triangles class. I made a triangles.java file that has the triangles class in it. And for the CV triangles class, I created this guy. And notice I made this a public class, so I can access it from over here. And actually, if you try in the original book version, notice that triangles class is public and CV triangles is not public. It's just plain old class. If we try making that public, I think we're going to find a problem here. Public. Let's see. Yeah, see, it comes up with an error. So you, whenever you have a public class, it says it right here, should be declared in a file named cvtriangles.java. So every public class needs to be in a file by itself with .java. All right. So this will work okay, but then so that's another issue is with object-oriented programming is reusability, right? If you wanted to be able to use this CV triangles class anyplace else, you would have to have it declared publicly in its own file, so that other this public thing here, so that other classes could use it. Okay. So anyway, that's just, like I said, kind of a standard Java thing, and it goes to not only reusability, but also one of the main things you want to learn how to do as a programmer is to reduce cognitive load. So you want to have in front of you only the stuff that you need to be thinking about at that time. So when you're working on the triangles class, you don't need to worry about what CV triangles does. I mean, yeah. So all you need to know is that it's a canvas and you can stick it in your frame. And again, that's not a big deal with the examples that we're going to see. It becomes a big deal when you have, a zillion classes and you have a big complex project that you want to work on. So let's see, what else did I do in here? So yeah, it wasn't a whole lot to do with this guy. I did replace this deprecated show call to show with what is it? Set visible true, and I did some reformatting. So if you go in NetBeans, it's up here. If you say source format, there's something equivalent in Eclipse someplace too. But you just call the format thing, and it lays stuff out for you prettily. And again, readability is really important. So you want to. So that's another issue that that's another reason why I did that, to make things more readable. Okay, and then finally, let's see, with the CV triangles class. This init graphics isn't too bad. You can pretty much see, get the idea of what's going on there, and the IX and the IY. We've talked about those. But this paint method is long and not very readable. So, and again, like I said, it's readable if you can go in and understand it, but you really don't want to have methods this long. It's not a good idea, and it just helps make it clear. You want to be able to at a glance kind of see what's going on. So what I did was, with my version, I pulled out some of the functionality. So I wrote a method called initialize vertices, and that's where I pulled out all the code that prepares the first triangle that you're going to draw. So let's see, yeah, in this guy, there's a bunch of code that sets up the first triangle, and that's kind of all this code here. But you kind of need to and we'll do some more analysis, so I'll show you, because you do kind of need to do some poking around to say, what's going on here. But this is just an overview. So I did some poking around and said, okay, so this is the stuff that sets up the vertices for the first triangle. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to stick that in this method called initialize vertices. Okay, and I stuck that here, right? And then there was a code that said for I equals 0, I less than 50. And, I mean, it does say, we're making 50 triangles, but it's a lot nicer, and again, more typical. What programmers will do is, when we have a constant like this, you don't just leave a weird number like that. That's without explaining it. So I wrote a constant called triangle count. Okay, so now I know that I'm looping through this this loop here for as many times as there are triangles. Okay, and also then, if sometime later, if I want to try working with a different number of triangles, so I'm initializing it to 50, because that's what that's what the book version has. But you can play around with different numbers of triangles and things like that, which we'll do later. Then each time through the loop, I have a method called draw triangle that draws the triangle with the current set of vertices. So draw triangle just does this. Whatever these x's and y's are, it'll draw those triangles. And then I have calculate next vertices that'll get me my next set of vertices. Okay, so again, like I said, it's just for readability. So if you're looking just at this paint method and you look through, you say, okay, first I initialize the vertices, then I go into this loop for however many triangles they're going to have, and I draw the triangle, and then I figure out what the next set of vertices are going to be. And that's the basic flow of the paint method. And we'll get into the details later, but this is a nice way of being able to get a quick overall view of what the paint method is doing, rather than looking at something like this, right? Okay, so that's what I was doing in this refactoring stuff and why I did that.